Welcome to the lockdown garden. I am the Starman, and it's quite a breezy lockdown garden as well today. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to step inside. I'll just step into the kitchen and hopefully you'll be able to hear me a little bit easier in here. Right, okay. So, and I'm saying lockdown, in fact, we're not really under a lockdown as such now. We can actually go out. We're free to go out kind of wherever we want, really. But there are some restrictions. Places like the Lake District is where one place I would like to go, actually, is not officially open. So, you know, they are saying that they don't want us to go up to the Lake District. They don't want people piling up to the Lake District in the national parks. And that goes for Wales as well. Wales is closed, pretty much. And where I live in Blackpool as well, we're closed, officially closed by the tourist board. They've actually changed the name to Do Not Visit Blackpool at the moment, so we're closed as well. Now, that's all that out of the way. What I want to talk about in this video is a couple of planets, Venus and Mercury. Now, Venus has been quite obvious in our skies for the last couple of months. It's been very high up, and there's another planet as well, the most inner planet in our solar system that can be seen in the skies at the moment. In fact, it can be seen into early June, and that's Mercury. Now, not many people have actually seen Mercury. Now, there's a good reason for that, because compared to Venus, it's nowhere near as bright as Venus. I mean, you can't miss Venus. If you look out towards the northwest after sunset, you just cannot miss it. It's getting a bit lower in the sky now because it's coming round. What's happening with Venus is it's coming round our side of the sun. It's actually getting bigger. It's turning into a crescent, and I'm going to try and photograph that later. You'll see. Mercury, the interesting thing about Mercury is that because it's so close to the sun, it never strays very far away from the sun when you see it in the sky. So you never ever see the planet Mercury in a dark sky. You only ever see it in the twilight. Now that could be in the morning, or it could be in the evening. Now at the moment it's in the evening, and there's a name given to the sides of the sun on which you can see these planets. At the moment, Mercury is at its, let me get this right, eastern elongation. They call it elongation when it's at the far side of an orbit, and we are able to see it either in the evening, or if it's on the other side of its orbit, western elongation, we'll be able to see it in the morning. The same thing with Venus. Now, as I say, Mercury, I don't know how many people have seen Mercury. It's not many. It's probably less than 1 in 10. Maybe that's being generous. But at the moment, as I film this video, the two planets are very, very close together in our sky after sunset. Now, if I get the timing right, I will be able to go and get a picture of them together. Now, that'll be quite interesting, because if I use a telephoto lens, I'll be able to get Venus as a crescent, and Mercury will look quite nice as well. It's got a nice colour to it, Mercury. It tends to have like an orangey colour to it, so that'd be quite a nice picture to get. And I'm going to be using my 300mm lens. Now, I could use a telescope, but with all this wind we've got outside at the moment, I think it's probably a bit too risky to use a big telescope. It'd be wobbling all over the place. So that's the thing. That's what I'm going to do in this video. And by the time you're watching this video now, Venus will have moved away from Mercury, but don't worry, because you'll still be able to photograph or look for Mercury in the evening sky, and hopefully you'll be able to get a picture of it yourself, because it will be around until June. It actually gets a little bit higher in the sky into June, so there's plenty of chances to go and get it. Right, so I'm going to, normally I would go to the promenade to photograph the planets, because our promenade, you can just see a flat vista all the way across the REC. It's absolutely perfect for seeing a flat horizon, because you really need a flat horizon because they're going to be very low down. I'll describe to you later on how low down they are. So what I'm going to do is, because it's so windy, I'm not going to go to the promenade. I'm going to go to a nature reserve, which is on the back end of town and well away from the promenade, and that'll be more out of the wind, and I'll have a nice horizon where hopefully I will be able to see and photograph Venus and Mercury. So let's do that then. Okay, so I've arrived at my site, and this is Martin Mere Nature Reserve, just on the edge of Blackpool. And I thought I'd come here because I think if I went to the promenade I'd be getting blown to bits, and I'm getting blown to bits right here now, so I hope you can hear me. You might just be able to see Blackpool Tower right over there. And Venus should be somewhere up here, Venus and Mercury. Right, okay, so I've just stepped down into like a little bit of a valley here, and I'm just out of the wind a bit more than I was up there. I was getting blown to bits up there. Now, it's about 9:30 now, and I think that the ideal time to start looking will be about 10 o'clock, because the sky is a little bit too bright at the moment to even see Venus, so we're never going to see Mercury just yet. And it does look a little bit murky over there as well. It looks clear, but I don't know, it just looks a little bit murky, but it could be a challenge, but we're going to have a go. So I'll wait until the sky gets a bit darker before I get the camera on it. But for now, I'm going to show you, give you a tip on how to find planets and things like that when they're fairly low to the horizon. Right, okay, so we're now looking towards the northwest horizon over here, and this is where Venus and Mercury are going to be. Now, they're going to be quite low down, so it's going to be quite tricky to see them, but I know by looking at stellarium. I'm just going to show you a screenshot now of stellarium of the position of Mercury and Venus tonight at about 10 o'clock. Now, they're below 10 degrees, they're just below 10 degrees at around 10 o'clock. Now, to measure 10 degrees of sky, you want to hold your hand out at arm's length like that and put your palm like that, and that measures 10 degrees of sky up. So if you put that on the horizon, that's roughly, with your thumb as well, that's roughly 10 degrees. So we know that Venus and Mercury are going to be below the width of your palm above the horizon. Yeah, so then it's a case of just scanning the sky then. I mean, with Venus being there, it's going to be fairly easy to locate Mercury. But normally Mercury is quite a tricky spot if you're trying to find it with no pointer like Venus. But this is one way that you can use to try to find objects in the sky. If you're not sure how high up they are, you can use the palm of your hand just like I did there. Now, another interesting thing about Mercury is I was talking about the elongations before, where you get it on the western side and you get it on the eastern side. The most distant that Mercury can get from the sun in degrees is 28 degrees. That's about a third of the sky. Now, that doesn't mean that you'll ever see it 28 degrees up in the sky unless you live between the tropics, the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. There's a possible chance that you would see it that high up, because the ecliptic where we are is actually fairly shallow. So the ecliptic at this time of year, from where I am, at sunset, the sun kind of dips like that, really shallow, and it barely goes below the horizon before it comes back up again. So our ecliptic is very shallow. But like I say, if you live between the tropics, the ecliptic, the path of the sun is a lot steeper, so there is a chance to see Mercury higher up in the sky. So anyway, I'm just going to wait for it to get dark now, and then we'll go planet spotting. Okay, so that's brilliant. I've spotted Venus and Mercury, and I've already got a photograph of it. I'll just show you my setup because I didn't show you what camera I was using. Let's have a little look at what I'm using to capture Venus and Mercury. So here we are. I'm struggling to keep this tripod up. So I've got the 300mm lens on, I've got the Nikon D850, and I've got a cable release to take the photograph. So it's a 300mm lens, and if you come round the back, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but I'm pointing towards, let's see where it's actually moved now. Let's get into this. I don't know if you can see this, but I've got Venus there. If I zoom in, you might be able to see it. So that's Venus. In fact, you can actually see the crescent shape of Venus. I'll just put that on the screen now, just in case you can't see that. I don't want to use too slow a shutter speed. That the wind is going to cause the lens to vibrate so much that I'm going to get a shaky shot. So I think what I'm going to have to do is try and get a balance, really. I put the ISO up to to 800, and that gives me a shutter speed of 1/100th of a second at f4. And I'm just going to have to take quite a few shots and hope that one of them comes out good, because the wind is just vibrating the lens for fun, and it's blowing me about all over the place. It's really, really difficult, but I know I've got some pictures already, so it's been a success already. So it was really more a case of just getting a shot of Mercury more than anything, because it's not that often that I've actually photographed Mercury. And it's also a little video just to give you an idea of how to do it yourself as well, and give you some idea of how to find things in the sky. Okay, so here's my camera here now, and we're looking at Venus. I'm not sure if you can see it on the screen, but I've got Venus on there, sort of centered in the box there now. So Venus is currently just about where my finger is in the sky. So if I hold my hand out roughly, you can see that it's probably just below where my hand is. We're just coming up to 10 o'clock now, which I said would be a good time to do it. Now the sky is going to get a little bit dark, but I'm quite happy with what I've got already actually. Yeah, so that's it. Mercury and Venus. I think it was a success. Let me know in the comments if you like this video. We'll be doing some more like this one, or hopefully with less wind. Don't forget to click the subscribe button if you want to see more, and click the little bell at the top as well if you want to be notified of when I do another video. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you again on the next one.